Today marks the fourth and final day of our coverage of the 2025 State Papers. Each year, the National Archives releases documents from within government files under the 30-year rule. The 30-year rule applies to general documentation, whereas a 20-year rule applies to documents which involve Northern Ireland and Anglo-Irish relations. Some of these documents are marked confidential, others are secret. They are available for public scrutiny, but in early December the media are given a chance to go through them and select some of the most interesting stories. There's quite a number of Northern Ireland stories in the fourth day. These involve Stakeknife, the double agent that MI5 operated within the IRA, the murders of Billy Wright and Pat Finucane, and in particular claims from Mr. Wright's family that the Irish government was not showing the same level of support for the murder of a Loyalist than they would for members of the nationalist community. There's also an interesting story about concern over the investment in a British military facility in Crossmaglen. One of the most interesting stories involves documents from 1936, the time of the abdication of King Edward VIII, and the view amongst Irish civil servants of Winston Churchill. Of course, Winston Churchill became one of the most famous statesmen in the world after World War II because of his stance in the face of Adolf Hitler and Nazi aggression. However, in 1936, one Irish civil servant regarded him as venal and unscrupulous, and that his family had effectively betrayed King James II back in the 17th century. There's also some interesting stories in healthcare. There was a nurses' strike in Galway over bad food in the 1960s, and a complaint from some nurses that they couldn't tell the difference between beef and mutton, and that the only fresh vegetable that they had been given for 3 months was cabbage. One of the saddest stories of the entire State Papers involves the death of a woman in Ballina in 1941. Pregnant, she was refused admission to Ballina Hospital, and a state file reveals that the matron of the hospital at that time preferred to hold beds for paying patients rather than those who couldn't afford to do so. Full coverage of the State Papers is in today's Irish Independent and an independent.ie. It's the fourth and final day of the coverage for December the 30th, 2025.